Students have been arrested outside Wits University this morning. Now, a small group had blocked entrances into the university. Our reporter Sikelelwa Mdingi is at Wits University. Siki, you've been tracking the situation all morning. Give us a sense of what has happened following the arrest of these students.
Yes, Kathy, we've been here the whole morning, and at around 6 and just before 7, police managed to shut down the protests when they were starting, when the students you were mentioning tried to close the entrances. We do know that there's a number of them who were arrested and taken to Hillbrow Police Station. And at about 8, Kathy, just about an hour ago, things were relatively calm. There was heavy police presence, and we actually thought maybe they've got this under control. Well, the students were not deterred, and they've managed to regroup. What they've done, they started from Solomon Masango House and went all around campus, closing out their classes. Those who were in class, asking them to come out. They're actually carrying fire extinguishers and blowing them into the office, into the classes, so those students can run out. They closed the coffee shops. Literally, I doubt there's a place that's currently got students studying at the moment on campus. And they're saying, Kathy, they are still firm on their demands. They're unhappy with the minister's announcement from yesterday. But an additional demand is that they want who they call their comrades who are arrested and are held at Hillbrow. They want them released, and they're saying that they'll gather and march to Hillbrow Police Station if it comes to that. Back to you, Kathy.
Siki, of course, Wits University has seen its fair share of protests, particularly since the entire issue of fees must fall began. In the context of today, how do you think that the university is responding to these protests? Is there a sense yet of the approach officials are going to take this time around?
Well, one of the things that the officials this time around did was the police. It was heavier than the other time. So they were trying to be prepared. And another thing they did, they were quite vocal about their action, where in the statement they released last night to students and posted on their website, where they were saying that they will enforce their suspensions, they will arrest students, they're trying to keep things as normal as possible on this campus. But with the number growing, Cassie, I don't know how the police will handle this one, because the number is growing of these students who are gathering outside campus. In terms of now trying to arrest them or trying to calm the situation, we're not sure. But when it comes to the fees issue, of course, the University Council is meeting on the 30th of September, where they will wage a way forward in terms of the fees and the amounts and all of that. So those decisions have not yet been made. But for now, they're just trying to ensure that there's no destruction to property. So that's the stance they're taking right now. But what happens next as this number grows bigger, Kathy, we're not sure. And I must mention that it is the group, some of the group are a bit hostile. We're not allowed to film, for instance. So you've got a number of broadcast journalists who are told not to film. The minute they see you with a camera, then they stop you. But right now where they are, that's when they were collecting the other students. Right now, as they're talking, we're not sure if we will still be able to put up those cameras yet. But they are relentless. They're willing to fight back should the police come at them again. Back to you, Cass.
Siki, I'm also seeing here that Wits University has put up several notices, I believe, and issued statements to staff there, particularly around the disruptions to classes and instructions on what process must be followed should classes be interrupted. I'm not sure you've seen it, but perhaps if you can just talk us through some of the things that they're urging their staff members to do as they respond to this mob that's moving around that campus.
One of the things that they did, Cassie, was in that statement you're talking about, the one that was released last night. They also had numbers, emergency numbers, saying that those are the number of students on campus. They feel threatened. They can report instances. And they're also saying that they've got additional security on campus. So you can notify them should you feel threatened or should you witness any destruction of property. We do know that there's various kinds of security cast to ensure that because the university says you are safe, you are protected. They've got public order policing, they've got the JMPD, they've got the normal campus security, and now there's even the security, private security dressed in black. So they are trying to make sure that those students who are not participating in the protest also do feel safe. And of course, there are those numbers that they can call in case of emergency.
The Wits SRC yesterday condemned any form of violence that's associated with protests. Do we know what's driving this current wave, particularly with regard to the tension that we are seeing being vented by students?
Without making any assertions, Kathy, but from our observations, it seems like there is a SRC, yes, but there's also a strong presence of the EFF Student Command, who are also leading some of this protest. Some of them have been in the media; they've been vocal in the past. So we do know that they are members of the EFF, but we're not saying that they are saying the students must be violent. But in terms of the leading of the events from today, there is a strong EFF Student Command presence. But of course, the SRC has maintained the protests will be generally peaceful. And apart from going around campus and taking those students out of class, on campus, there have been peaceful, I must say, except for the singing and all of that. And of course, they are hostile towards the media. But amongst themselves, no other students were threatened. It's just saying that please get out of class because this thing needs to happen. We need to be in our numbers to ensure that our demands are met.
Let's talk briefly about the numbers, Siki. You know, last year it was unquestionable the amount of support that the issue over fees enjoyed. Your assessment of the situation on Wits campus this morning, would you say that this time around the call for fees falling entirely enjoys the majority of students who are on campus at this hour?
Definitely, we can't compare the two, Kathy. Definitely, we can't compare the two. The numbers are not as big as that movement last year. Another thing which I also mentioned earlier on when we were talking to the Morning News Today team was that some students are still trying to make their heads, to make the numbers or to turn the numbers around in their head, trying to understand the nitty-gritty of what the minister said yesterday. The fact that some of them can be subsidized, while those who can afford have to pay. So that might have an impact in that there's not a full blanket understanding of exactly what the structure entails for next year. So that could be one of the issues at hand. And secondly, another thing that it is exam time, Kathy. It is exam time. Some of them actually were talking on the sidelines saying they just want to write their exams and get it out of the way because the year is close to an end. So there could be all those other factors. And again, another thing we can bring in is the fact that they saw what it did last year. So maybe some of them don't want a repeat of that scale of disruptions to classes, that scale of disruption to their learning and all of that. So it's a case of we've been there before, we know how we can pan out. And some are making that decision to participate, while others are deciding maybe we can sit this one out. So those numbers are definitely not the same, and I don't think they will pick up to that same level as it was last year, Kathy.
At this point, any indication of what exactly the plan is going into the rest of this morning?
Well, the plan now, they are standing there. The leaders are talking to them. They've just come back from this process of mobilizing from the classes. What they're saying now is the new demand today is that they want these students who are arrested to be released from Hillbrow Police Station. Initially, they had intended, for their plan for today was to mobilize on campus, prevent people from coming in, go to separate campuses, get other students. But today, it looks like one of the things they were mentioning was that they will march to Hillbrow Police Station if their fellow students are not arrested. So they're now being addressed. They're all gathered. And two things are going to happen. They'll continue here on campus or they will move out. But that will be clear in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
All right, Siki, that's where we leave it with you for now. Sikelelwa Mdingi, she's at Wits University watching the situation as it unfolds on that campus for us. As you heard, there are 10 students being arrested this morning after they blockaded some of the entrances leading into the university. Of course, it follows the announcement made by Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande yesterday over the 2017 fee structure. He has, however, said that there is no need for students to shut down universities. He says all stakeholders, including student leaders, were consulted about the decision to cap fee hikes at 8%. And he's added that there'll be no increase at all for 70% of students.